Right. Welcome to the 6th edition of this program, Stop Worrying and Start Living. Stop worrying and start living. This program has been on for a while now, and we've done different parts in this series on Stop Worrying and Start Living. Today we are looking at managing thought disorder. Managing thought disorder. You know, we've talked about this for a while and about the fact that the real challenge as far as depression is concerned is in the mind. It's at the level of thought. The real challenge is in the mind, and it's at the level of thought. If that challenge in the mind and at the level of thought can be taken care of, then every other thing, as far as this challenge is concerned, will have been taken care of. Now, let's start as usual from where we normally start from. And where do we start from? From the anchor verse, which basically says, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not walk after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through God to the pulling down of stronghold, casting down imagination. Casting down imagination. Casting down imagination and every item that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Casting down imagination. This is part 6 of this series, and we're discussing managing thought disorder. Last week, we looked at different characteristics of thought disorder. For those that were able to make it last week, we talked about understanding thought disorder. We discussed filtering. We discussed overgeneralization. We discussed black and white thinking. We discussed jumping into conclusion, catastrophizing, personalization, control fallacy, fallacy of fairness, emotional reasoning, fallacy of change, labeling, always being right, and the should syndrome. The should syndrome. These were all the thought disorder we discussed last week. But this week, we are talking about managing thought disorder. How do we manage those thought disorder? Remember, if we're going to manage thought disorder, remember whatsoever things are true. Those are the things to think about. Whatsoever things are honest. Those are the things to think about. Whatsoever things are just. Those are the things to think about. Whatsoever things are lovely. Those are the things to think about. Whatsoever things of good report. Whatever things of virtue. Whatever things of praise. Think on these things. In fact, Solomon admonished us, said, guard your heart with all diligence. It is a guard your heart with diligence, with all the fiber of diligence you have. And he said, for out of it are the issues of life. Guard your heart with all diligence. For out of it are the issues of life. Why is that admonition important? Because everything about our life has to do with our thought. A translation says, be careful what you think, because your thoughts control your life. Be careful what you think, because your thought controls your life. Be careful what you think, because your thought controls your life. Your thoughts controls your life. Be careful what you think. Guard your heart. Keep watch over your heart with all diligence, with all care, above all things, because you will live based on the way you think. The greatest change that can happen to a man is change or changes in the way he thinks. Is change or changes in the way he thinks. It's so important how powerful our thought process is. Yet, many are not aware that the challenge and the greatest and the biggest problem in their life is happening at the level of thought. So, the scripture have an answer. Guard your heart with all diligence. Your thoughts control your life. Your thoughts control your life. It has got to be a good one, a great thought, a better thought, else you might be in trouble. Your thoughts control your life. The reason why people claim that they are stressed in life is because of financial issues. They claim they are stressed because of relationship issues, spouse, children, financial issues, money, not having enough. That's the claim. Children stressed because of their disobedience. The reason for stress, business and career. What's the reason for stress? Health, including those of people that are close to us. What's the reason for stress? Big environmental stuff like politics, security, climate change. Some say it's because of too much to do and not enough time. Some people say because they are not aware. They are not where they want to be. I dare say that all these reasons are not the issue that is causing stress in our lives. The real cause of stress in life is the rigid idea of how we think universe should be, of how we think life should be, of how we think things should play out, versus how things are playing out. When universe is not doing what we want it to do, that is the real reason that creates stress. That is the real reason for the stress. The real reason for the stress is not the lack of money. It's not the lack of relationship. It's not because you are not married. It's not because you are not in school. It's not because you failed your exams. It's not because of your relationship or marriage. It's not because of business or career. It's not because of health issue. It's not because of the challenge in the environment, in politics. It's not because of too much to do. The real cause of stress in life is the gap between your expectation and the current reality of your life. The wider the gap between your expectation and reality, the higher the stress or the level of stress you face in life. And these expectations are created by the society and the environment. And that gap is the real cause of stress in our life. That gap is the real cause of stress in our life. So one of the things that people are claiming is causing stress is not really the cause of stress. The real cause of stress is the gap. The real cause of stress is the gap. The real cause of stress is the gap. If this can be taken care of, I tell you, if you can change, if you can significantly change the way you think about your expectation, the stress level in your life will drastically reduce, drastically reduce, drastically reduce. Remember, today we are discussing managing thought disorders. Managing thought disorders. So what we have in our head and what we want in life and we are unable to achieve is the real cause of stress. That which you have in your mind, in your head, that you are unable to achieve is the real cause of stress. Always remember, the real cause of stress in our life is directly proportional to the gap between your expectation and your reality. Expectation in business, expectation in career, and the reality of your life. These are the cause of stress. If you don't allow the society to set expectation for you, this is the time to marry. This is the time to give back. This is the time to go to school. This is the time to do this. This is the time, by now you should have done this. By now you should have. When you don't allow society to set it for you, and you walk on your pace, and allow the reason, whatever you want to achieve, what is driving you, is not because of material acquisition, but because of value for humanity. If the real reason behind what you want to do is because of humanity, when you are not able to achieve it, you won't be stressed. And the reason why you will not be stressed when you are unable to achieve it is because you are not doing it to show off, for people to know that, yes, we have arrived. You are doing it for the purpose of humanity. If that is the reason, If that is the reason, I tell you, you won't now compare yourself with what you think your life should be like. Please always remember, try as much as possible to remember, whenever you are stressed, you are unhappy, you are sad, there is a problem. There is an expectation the society have created for you. When you compare that to where your life is, there is a big gap. Ladies and gentlemen, the stress is not the failure. It's not the inability to achieve that objective. The real cause of stress is the gap between that expectation that you have accepted as yours, but given to you by the society, and your current reality. You think by now you should have a particular job, you don't have it. Why do you want that job? So you can buy a car and build a house and be comfortable? Society says comfort and convenience is victory sign over the enemy. The society says comfort and convenience is victory sign over the enemy. So, if you have not been able to attain or achieve that comfort and convenience, you begin to see yourself as being incomplete, inadequate, incompetent. I dare say, this is the major cause of stress in your life. Our thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, are very powerful. Our thoughts are very powerful. Our thoughts are so powerful that it controls our life. And last week we discussed different kind of the kind of thinking people have, wrong kind of thinking, very, very wrong thought process. Today we are discussing how do we manage those disorderly thoughts, wrong thoughts, negative thoughts. How do we manage them? That's the focus today. Managing thought disorder. Happiness is a state of profound sense of well-being. And this is what you must strive to be, a profound sense of well-being in spite of all your challenges and situations in life. You need to be in a profound sense of well-being. It is important for you to know that you are okay. You have always been okay. And you will always be okay. Happiness in life is not something to be learned, but rather something to be experienced. Something to be experienced. No matter the challenge you face, you are always okay. The real issue is not the current challenges. The real issue is the way you are thinking about the challenges. And that thinking is based on your own understanding of what you think, of how you think you should be thinking. Of what you think and how you think you should be thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important one. Extremely important. Extremely important. Happiness is not something to be learned, but rather something to be experienced. It's something to be experienced. It's something to be experienced. How do you think about those challenges? Remember, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any praise, think on these things. Please note that it is possible for someone to have a great day every day. It's possible for you to have a great day every day. All you need to do is to make up your mind that today, I'm going to have a terrific day. I'm going to have a great day. This means whatever happened today, no matter the issue you face, no matter what you are experiencing, you have made up your mind you are going to have a terrific day, a great day. So that means whatever happens in your mind, you believe all things work together for good. All things work together for good. All things work together for good. Even though you don't have control over the adverse situation that you find yourself, but you can determine the emotional domain that you occupy in that situation. Please note that. Note that. Please note that. Please note that. Just note that. Even though you might not have control over the situation, but please note, you can determine the emotional domain from which you operate in that situation. You can determine the emotional domain you occupy. You can determine the way you see it, the way you view it, the way you experience it. You can determine that. You can determine that. You can determine the emotional state you are. You always have control over the emotional state, or no matter the challenge you face, you determine how you experience it. Have you ever wondered why two people go through the same challenge, exactly the same challenge? Like a case I know of two people that have extra years in school. One of them committed suicide. One of them committed suicide. But guess what? The other spent 4 years extra. But today is inspiring young people on how not to waste their life. Today is inspiring young people of how not to waste their life. Why? Why? The emotional state from which they receive that negative circumstances and situation is what makes a difference in their lives. It's what makes a difference in their lives. The emotional state they chose to occupy.
Hello? The honorable.
The challenging situation. Always remember, you can always determine. You can only determine the emotional domain from which you operate from. You have a choice over that. A minute, please.
It's amazing the way individuals have chosen to live their life. And this is mainly because of the challenges we have as humans in understanding exactly what is the most powerful force in our lives. Our minds are so powerful. Our minds are so powerful that if we actually obey the scripture that says, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life, you realize that we'll be able to live a happier and better life. We'll be able to live a happier and better life. The reason why we are unable to live a happier and better life is actually because we have not been able to understand the way our mind works. And, and that's why it's surprising to me, really, when I look at the way we live as Christians, vis-a-vis the way we are supposed to live as Christians. He said, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issue of life. But unfortunately, we allow all sort of garbage to enter into our heart, forgetting that when we think, we actually process data in our mind. But if the data I've allowed into my mind are the wrong ones, that is also the raw material for thinking. Always remember that information is the raw material for thinking. Always remember, information is the raw material for thinking. What kind of information do I get into my mind? You must be deliberate on the kind of information you allow into your mind. You must be extremely deliberate about it. Why should you be deliberate about it? Because your thought controls your life. He said, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. It's so important for us to understand that if we can easily have a good understanding of this, it will make a lot of difference in our life, sincerely. I don't know if you have thought about it. Why is it that in life we all go through the same situation and respond differently? The reason is simple. It's actually based on the way we process information. It is based on the way we process information, but it's in your mind. Particularly the right type of information. For example, what I said tonight about stress, for example, that the real cause of stress is not that you fail the exam. The real cause of stress is not that your score is low. The real cause of stress is not that because you're not married or not have kids or you have lost someone. The real cause of stress is what we expect life to do and what life is doing. Our expectation vis-a-vis our reality.
Vis-a-vis. It's amazing. It's amazing, sincerely, how we have chosen to live our life. And I'm emphasizing this point because what we are discussing today, if well imbibed, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be forever be grateful that you were able to join this session tonight. Because we live a very stressful life. Always remember, challenges will come. There's nothing we can do about challenges of life. There's nothing we can do about it. That is the lot of man. That is our lot as man. We cannot, we're in this life, we're going to face challenges. That's inevitable. In fact, someone said, in life, there will be a tsunami. It's not a question of if there will be a tsunami, no, but rather when the tsunami is going to come, because it will surely come. And when things happen in your life, don't be quick to judge anything that happened to you in life as being good or bad. Rather, when bad situation happen, ask yourself question regarding how this is likely going to work together for your good. Suffering from bad situation does not happen when that situation occurs. The real suffering from bad situation actually happens when you label it. So and so is the cause of my problem. This problem occurred because I've not done A, B, C. And religion has not helped matter. Religion helps you to put a lot of coloration. Because you have not done this, because you have not done that. And at the end of the day, because you have put that coloration, it increases your pain. It increases your pain. It increases your pain. This is why the position you occupy is so important. The position you occupy. Remember, you are okay. You have always been okay. And you will always be okay. It all depends on the position you occupy regarding that situation. There will be tsunami, there will be challenges. You know, there is a law of nomenclature in life that says that what you call a situation, a place, a people, or circumstances is what it exactly becomes to you. What you call a people, a situation, a circumstances is exactly what it becomes to you. It's exactly what it becomes to you. How are you labeling the situation you go through right now? How? How are you labeling the situation you go through right now? Don't be quick to label it as good or bad. That is where the problem is. That is where the danger is. When you are quick to label it as good or bad, that's exactly what you should not do. Because when you label it as good or bad, that's when the suffering and pain begins. That's when the suffering and pain begins. If you see a bad situation, ask yourself question, what am I supposed to learn from this? Or how is this going to work together for my good? Then you begin to see and anticipate the good in it. Guess what? This is a learnable skill. And so it can be practiced by anyone. Please note that your awareness is like a flashlight. Whatever you shine it on becomes visible and awake your consciousness about it. I've given this example before. As I'm talking now, if I say, how are you feeling in your buttock where you are seated? You will suddenly realize the pressure between your buttock and the chair you are sitting on. But you are not, the flashlight of your awareness is turned in that direction. That's exactly what happened. That means I can turn my awareness in a positive direction. I can turn it in a different direction. So that pain has always been there. That pressure has always been there, but you didn't think of it until I mentioned it. Until I mentioned it, you started feeling the pressure. The pressure. there is need to try as much as possible to begin to monitor yourself and document how many times you manifest the distorted thought that we discussed last week. Remember, your thought distortion dictates how you feel about yourself and consequently what you do and the outcome of your life. Your thought dictates the way you feel, and the way you feel determines the outcome of your life. The reason why you should record the manifestation of your thought disorder in your life is to be able to know the frequency of how you think and think wrongly. You know the frequency, so you can begin to do something about it. Pray about it, work on it to reduce the frequency of wrong thought. To work on it is to consciously listen to your thoughts. And you know what? There is always grace available to be able to be disciplined in the way you think. You need to also feed your mind with the right information. You know, what you think about is based on what you feed your mind with. So what do you feed your mind with? You need to feed your mind with the right information. Right information in that area, so you'll be able to know how to think correctly. Thought and not just thought. They are the ingredients that determine the outcome of your life. Thought and not just thought. Thought are ingredients that determine the outcome of your life. Thought and not just thought. Thought and not just thought. They are ingredients that determine the outcome of your life. This is because your thought dictates your feeling dictates your action, thoughts dictate your feeling dictates your action, and your action dictates the outcome of your life. Thoughts come to you through what you have gone through in the past, especially when the sign that the previous incident is about to repeat itself shows up again. Remember that to manage your thoughts, you need to listen to your thoughts in the course of your day. Record it. You need to hear yourself and find a way to catch yourself when you think wrongly. Write down those wrong thoughts. So many of them we discussed last week. After writing down the negative thought, then you can now write down the opposite thought you want to think about it. The reason for writing down those negative thoughts that come to your mind is to begin to think of the positive, to replace it. Also note that atmosphere that trigger those kind of negative thoughts, you need to note them and avoid them. Always remember, your eyes and your ears are gateway to your heart. Your eyes and your ears are gateway to your heart. Guard your heart with all diligence. Guard your heart with all diligence. Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issue of life. Above all, be careful, because your thought controls your life. If you are not feeling okay, you are unhappy, it's because of the way you are thinking. Your thought about, and the thought is thinking about fear down the line. Fear of the implication of what is happening right now, what you think will happen afterward. Fear. Be conscious of the atmosphere that trigger those negative thoughts. Avoid those environments. And for every negative thought that comes in, replace it with a positive thought. Note how much time you think wrongly in a day. Thought disorder are negative, and therefore they create negative feeling in you and around you. thought disorder are negative. So they create negative feeling in you and around you. Thought disorder are negative. So they create negative feeling in you and around you. Thought disorders are negative. So they create negative feeling in you and around you. Thought disorder are negative. They create negative feeling in you and around you. Your thoughts can be very deceptive. Your thoughts can be very, very deceptive. Your thoughts can be extremely deceptive. In as much as it can be true, you cannot it cannot be the basis of your judgment. You just thought of someone. This is why this person is doing this thing. It's a thought. It's a thought. Subject that thought to reasoning and subject your reasoning to truth. It is important for you to know the fact. The fact that you think about something does not mean that thing is true. And some people make that mistake. They say, because this is the thought that came to my mind, and my mind does not deceive me. Can you imagine? Always ask yourself for the fact. Avoid believing in your thoughts to be true without checking the fact. Avoid believing in your thoughts to be true without checking the fact. Avoid believing in your thoughts to be true without checking the fact. Avoid believing in your thought to be true without checking the fact. That you feel something is true does not mean it's true. Look for the fact. Always challenge your feeling and ask questions. Question your feeling. Question your feeling. Match your feeling with the fact and evidence. You don't have to believe in your feeling. Your thoughts, especially when they are negative, are very deceptive and can be depressing. They are deceptive and they can be depressing. They are deceptive and they can be depressing. Don't allow your thoughts to control your life. Don't allow your thoughts to control your life. Don't allow your thoughts to control your life, because your thoughts can be very, very deceptive and depressing. If your thoughts are negative, it will only make your feeling to be negative, and this will affect your life. So always subject your emotion to reasoning. Listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. Subject your emotion to reasoning. Your emotional feeling, subject it to reasoning. Is it right? Is it wrong? This thinking, is it right? And subject your reasoning. Then you believe in the truth of the word of God. Subject your reasoning to truth or the fact about the situation. Or the fact about the situation. Don't act, when you act instinctively and you allow emotion to guide you in life, you know what? That's animalistic. It's animals that act based on instinct. It's animalistic to act based on instinct. It's wrong to act based on instinct. Subject that feeling to truth. Don't let your instinct guide you. Don't throw it away. Check it. Don't throw your instinct away. But don't act based on it. Double check first. Let it be the basis for fact checking. But don't act based on it. Because a lot of factors go into that instinctive feeling you have. Subject your reasoning to truth, but subject your emotional feeling to reasoning. Someone has said something. Let's say you're in the office, you did something wrong, and your boss, someone says something against you. Now, he made a statement. That statement says, maybe you say you're a fool. Now, first question, are you a fool? Are you a fool? How do you know if you're not a fool? Ask yourself, this thing I did, I make this person say I'm a fool. Am I supposed to do it? Even if I have done it wrongly, does it make me to be foolish? Or to be a foolish person? Because foolishness is a state of existence. That means you do it every time the same way. But if it happens occasionally, or it just happened for the first time, you are not fool. Even though he says that is his opinion. He has the right to his opinion. When you subject the way you feel about that thing to reasoning and then to truth, the truth is that he has the right to his opinion. But you can choose the way you feel about what he has said. You can choose the way you feel about what he has said. You can't control what he will say. You are always not in control. You will never be in control. But you have control about how you respond and react and how you feel about that situation. You will always not be in control. Always remember, you will always not be in control. Let that sink deep down in your mind that you will always not be in control. But you always have a control about how you feel. You have a control about how you feel. You have a control about how you feel. You have a control about how you feel. Subject your reasoning to truth. We need to manage our thought, ladies and gentlemen. If we don't manage our thought, it can destroy our lives. People have committed suicide because of wrong thinking. And like I said, religious belief is a major contributor to the way we think. Religious belief, not the scriptures. Not the scriptures. Religious belief, which is basically based on what someone said, otherwise called a pastor, an imam, a religious leader. Well, you will not subject what he's saying to truth. Every religious leader always attach his own philosophy to what he teaches. You can't separate him from his philosophy of life. And he will teach it like that is the word of God and that's what you must believe. Sometimes ignorantly, you are the one to decide. So you can think correctly. When a religious lie is saying that because so and so an apple is because of a curse in the family or something in the village, it will not make you to think you have a curse in your life. So every time anything happens, you already judge. Oh, this is why it's happening. This is why it's happening. You feel, at the end of the day, you just condemn yourself unnecessarily. But the implication of that is that it gives you a wrong way to think about your life. About your life. And if you go into life with that mindset, you know what will happen? It might make you live a very frustrated life. Because when anything happens, you'll be thinking of people in the village, you'll be thinking of a cause, you'll be thinking of what does not exist. but someone have given you information that guide your thinking. But you're not allowing whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are praiseworthy, whatsoever things are virtuous, whatever things are of good report. Think on these things. You need to be deliberate in the things you allow to go through your mind, in the way you think. You need to be very deliberate. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg you, you need to be very deliberate. You can always be happy. I tell you, you can always be happy, irrespective of the situation and circumstances. You can have a temporary setback in happiness, but you can always bounce back in a short time. Why? Irrespective of the situation, because you have control on how you feel. Always remember the cause of stress in your life, the cause of sadness and unhappiness in your life is because you think this is the way life should work, but life throw another challenge at you that shows that life work a different way. But because you already have an idea of how you think life should work, it makes you to be unhappy because you feel life is being unfair. Because you have decided to dictate how you think life should work. You think so, but it's not always so. It's not always so. You can always be happy. Always remember that. Always remember you are okay. You have always been okay, and you will always be okay. The current circumstance and situation does not mean something is wrong with you. Don't let religious belief destroy you and the way you think about your life. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just vicissitude of life. And always remember, don't label it good or bad yet. Don't label it good or bad yet. Don't label it good or bad yet. Wait for a while. You might just discover that thing that looked negative might eventually work together for your good. And we know that all things work together for good. Don't paint it black yet. Don't attribute it to anybody or the devil yet. All things work together for good. Always ask how valid is your thought. If you don't get the fact to back it up, then don't believe your thought. Until there is a fact to back up that thought, don't believe in it. If you have a feeling that someone is evil because he canceled an opportunity that you are looking forward to, he disappointed you, he did something one time that hurt you, don't use that one action to draw the conclusion that such a person is bad or evil. Don't use it. Before you conclude on whether he's good or evil, look for proof and evidence that support the fact that he is evil, and evidence that oppose the thought that he is evil. Look for that fact. Let the fact affect your judgment. And even if you have the fact that he is evil, guess what? Learn to forgive. Even when you have the fact that the person is evil, learn to forgive. Learn to forgive. Even when you have the fact that the person is evil, learn to forgive. It will help you a lot. If you learn to forgive, it will help you a lot. If you learn to forgive, it will help you a lot. Learn to forgive. Pay close attention to your negative thoughts and try to record them. Subject your thoughts to the test of evidence before you allow it to affect your feelings. Always remember, you can always be happy, irrespective of circumstances and situation. Even when it's very tragic, don't let it affect your feelings. Remember? Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issue of life. Paul warned us that the real fight is not what many believers are fighting in vigils every week. They are fighting what is not true. The real fight is in the level of thought. For though we walk in the flesh, Paul said, we are not at war with the flesh. It's not your boss that is your problem. It's not your colleague that is your problem. You do not war after the flesh. It's not your landlord or landlady or friends or ally or teacher or lecturer or roommate or classmate. That is not your problem. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. The real war is the way you are thinking about it. He said, for the weapon of our warfare are not carnal. They are mighty through God to the pulling down stronghold. And it can cast down, it involves casting down imagination. The stronghold in your mind, you can pull it down by casting down imagination. And every item that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. That is the thought. They exalt themselves against what God and the scriptures have said about you. And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Bring into captivity every thought. Every thought. Every thought. Bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Bring into captivity every thought subject to what the Bible has said about you. Finally, friends, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about? The things that are praiseworthy, the things that are virtuous, the things that are of good report, the things that are lovely, the things that are pure, the things that are just, the things that are honest, and the things that are true. Think on these things. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear from you tonight. I believe you've learned some things tonight. Yes, on my list, Olayinka Godwin. Godwin, yes. What have you learned tonight? Hello, Godwin. Hello, Godwin. Okay, Godwin is not with us now. Okay. Faith, how are you tonight? Hello, Faith. What have you learned tonight? Yeah, good evening.
Well, I learned a lot. But then
Your voice is here. Your mouth is far from your mic. It's not very loud.
Hello.
It's still low.
I'm coming.
Can you hear me better now?
Lot better, yes.
Okay. I said I learned a lot of things, but the ones that stuck with me were I shouldn't let my instincts guide me all the time. I should double check it. And also that how I think ultimately controls how I feel. And so if I'm feeling a certain way, I should check how I'm thinking about what is making me feel that way.
Yes.
I've also learned to be intentional. I think that's something that I've never really put into action, being intentional of what I see and the information that I take in, because there's so much information to take in nowadays with social media. So that one really stuck with me too. And also, I also have control over how I feel concerning a situation. I don't always have control over circumstances, but I have control over how I feel and how I respond to situations. So yes, so ultimately my thoughts are what will determine how I feel, which will ultimately determine how I act. So therefore I should be more mindful and be more mindful of my thoughts. Yes. So yes, that's what I've learned. And then I should subject, yes, the one you said, subject subject your emotions to reasoning and your reasoning to truth.
Your emotion to reasoning.
Yes, that one really stuck with me. And your reasoning to the word of God or facts about the situation.
Yes.
That's very important. Even though it's a very conscious thing to do, actually. You need to be very, very conscious.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I've learned. I'll try to put into practice and be more conscious of my emotions and my thoughts. And
Thank you. Thank
relate
you,
with the word
Faith.
of God. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, good to hear from you today. Yes, Glory. Thanks for joining tonight. How are you?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good to hear
Good
from
evening,
you.
sir.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I've been writing exams. I'm writing exams. That's what I've not been joining around.
Okay, how is your
I just
exam?
finished my exams now.
Wow.
Yes, I'm a doctor now.
Congratulations.
I passed the exam. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So from today's
Yes, go ahead. We can't hear you again. I think you're. Hello, we can't hear you again.
touch to affect us. So I learned that. Then also you talked about how to have a balanced life, have a peaceable life with oneself. Get. So I think that's what I picked from today's discussion, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is Godwin available now? Godwin, are you there? Hello, Godwin. Olayinka.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Yes. What have you learned
Evening, sir.
tonight?
What I learned is that thought is very important in life. The main challenge, what causes stress in the community. What causes stress is not what is actually happening around you. The
Yeah.
main thing is that the cause of stress is when your expectation, what you are getting, maybe the other side is not happen. So I understand that should not allow community to determine or to dictate for me or religion to mind the purpose of what any I want to do. If it's to affect humanity, so the cause of it may not be stress, but what is or personal or something that will glorify self, something like that. So it might cause stress that in life thoughts are very important. The thoughts will determine the direction your life will go. One major one is what it is thought, not the thing that is actually happening around it. Make a reference of someone that which he carry over in his final year exam, which today
Yes.
is now encouraging others. When the same thing happen to another person, but this other one, the way he handle it that today, he later graduated. I'm now encouraging other young ones. So I like in life that what I should have good thoughts no matter what is happening. And also if something happen, I should not just run to conclusion. Maybe somebody do me something bad, I should forgive. Not run to conclusion that the person is bad, is evil. Just really rush into it. So even if I discover that it's bad, I should forgive the person.
We can't hear you again.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, sir. I know I said I have a network challenge. So
Oh, okay. No problem. Thanks so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Anytime I listen to you, I always encourage and in fact, and know we keep you for us and more wisdom.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay. Okay. That should be Favor. Is Favor there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you using two phones?
No, I'm using just one. Okay, yes,
Okay.
I'm using the other one. The iPhone comes on sometimes. Yes, the iPhone is
Oh, okay, because I
sometimes
saw
on.
iPhone and I saw okay. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. I joined a little, but I joined when, but I'm not the one. I joined when you mentioned when you were speaking on intuition. So when we probably when you mentioned that we should not just base our judgments or take decisions based on what we feel. I know most times people will always say, your intuition is correct. Anything you know, because most times maybe to an extent it's actually premeditated. What we assume is what we end up seeing. So we just say, I knew I actually knew this was going to be like this, or this was going to be the outcome. So what I learned from tonight is sometimes even if I feel that way, I have to sit back and then really look at it. I feel at that point because it could be that was expected. That's what I learned.
We can't hear you again.
Oh, sorry, I had
Hello.
hello. I concluded. I don't know if you're that thing. I'm the car. That's why. Thank you. Hello, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Sorry. Favor, I didn't hear most part of what you spoke about. I went off, please. Can you just go over what you said again?
Okay, sir. I said I came in a little late, but I picked up from where you were talking about our intuition. So you said something like, okay, we should not just assume or say, oh, I feel this is what's happening around me. We should take my takeaway is actually to also sit back and look at my environment, understand the situation of things, and not just assume that a particular thing is the reason why um, I'm actually going through that particular thing at that point in time. Maybe perchance, if I relax and then think through it holistically, I would be able to come to a conclusion or come to something that would be more concrete than just basing my judgment on.
All right. Abidemi Olaofe, you came late. I don't know if you were able to pick up anything.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I came in a bit late, but I still learned a lot of things. I actually saw the link very late. I was just flipping through my Facebook page. Anyway, thank you. I still learned something. And basically, I was able to pick something. At the moment, I'm actually battling with issues of forgiveness.
Wow.
Yeah, I am, because I am just very quick to think, oh, this person just, I'm quick to actually tag things like, oh, someone just did this and hi, I'm just going to put him off or put her off. I want to create space for myself, you know? That's one thing I'm actually battling with at the moment. And I'm actually grateful for this, having to encourage people not to just jump. I hear this every day. It's not like I don't know. It's just that before you know, you slip back into the same old habit I had to see. So hearing this today, I think it's like a take-home assignment for me to be able to sit down, think again, and even forgive. Even when I discover that the person actually did it, nothing stops me from forgiving.
Yeah.
As a Christian, yeah. So for me, I came in late, but that's the punch for me, the punchline, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me say something about forgiveness.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is actually beyond the fact that we're Christian. I'm of the opinion that most of the instructions or principles for living in scriptures are really for our betterment as individual, in as much as a good quality for us as Christians. So, for example, medically speaking, I actually release hormones that strengthens my immune system and make my organ to be less stressful when I have the heart to forgive. But when I don't do it, in as much as the issue is painful, but I hurt myself the more.
When you
and
hold
you know,
on
for
to
us as human being, we respond to pain or gain. If I know this is better for me, for selfish reason, I think it's good for us to forgive. I know it's difficult, but if you look at it from the perspective of the fact that, look, I'm actually doing a lot to myself, a lot to my health, a lot to my immune system by forgiving. So those qualities are such that they help us physiologically in such a manner that it makes us healthier. So beyond the fact that they are good Christian virtues, they are also good for us, even in living as human beings in such a manner that at the end of the day we can live a more healthier life. I don't know if that helps. So you can think in that light that, look, he might have done whatever it is he's done, but look, I mean, I love myself and I want to be healthy. Look, as someone said, if he said, I am not what I think I am, and I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. So even when you do something, my interpretation is what I think you think. My interpretation is what I think you think. And in most cases, I might be wrong.
Yeah.
In most cases, I might be wrong. But my interpretation really is what I think you think. And if I dig deeper, it's possible that's not what you think, even though you are doing something wrong. But the reason behind it might not what I think you think.
Yeah.
And knowing fully well that I might be wrong might just be the reason why I felt, look, it has happened. All things work together for good. And then I can
move on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for we have a WhatsApp group. I don't know if you're on the WhatsApp group. I'll drop the link.
Okay.
There's a session we had last week on different kind of thought disorder that I think might help.
Wow,
I will drop the link immediately you join. I would look for the link of last week. I'm dropping the link to the WhatsApp group now on the chat. If you click on the chat, you will be able to see the link. If you click on it and you join, immediately I notice you join, I will drop the link of last week. It will be good if you can listen to that of last week. I'm sure it will give you an idea of different kind of way we think, and they are really thought disorder that we're very much not even aware of. And I think it might help. Is that what?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I think that's just the background voice. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've dropped the link. Immediately I noticed join via that link. Then I will drop the link, the recording of last week. I'm sure that will be of help. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for being able to make it tonight. We'll do part 7 next week as we discuss stop worrying and start living. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Yep.